Hello and welcome to the National Arts Club. I'm Concetta Bencivenga, the director of the club, and it is my pleasure to welcome you to the very first Conversations with Concetta. This series is meant to be a more intimate and in-depth look at some of the offerings of the club, and I'm very excited to bring you our inaugural guest, gallerist Giorgio Pilla, who will be talking about the incredible artwork we have on display now through April 23rd at the club. Let's go. Giorgio, tell us, where are we right now in terms of the Western Desert, and then also tell us about the artist Timo Hogan.
Okay, yeah, so Timo comes from the same community as Kaṉparkanya downstairs, but is an ancestral owner of a different part of the country. So he paints a place called Lake Baker, which was was passed down to him by his father, Neville MacArthur. And it's a salt pan lake a little bit further north of Kaṉparkanya, still in the western deserts of the Great Victorian deserts of Australia. And basically he paints that very barren salt lake that does fill from time to time, and hence the whites, which is what happens to salt lakes when they dry out, they crystallize. And if you're looking at them topographically again, which you can see in the video, the whites and the reds are the colours, and a little bit of the smidgens of colours that he's got in the paintings. You will see when you look down on this vast expanse of country or land that Timo is a custodian of. He has a dreaming called the Wanampi, which is an Aboriginal word for snake.
Can you say it again slowly?
Wanampi.
Wanampi, okay.
And it's basically his totem. In Indigenous culture, they have these kind of shape shifters and sort of background where they can move between current form into animal form, into future form. So we see a snake on the wall. Timo would see one of his ancestors creating that lake. And you see in some of the works the snake coming out of the lake, some of them going into the lake. But those would have been the ancestors that would have, in the process of fighting and doing whatever was required, the thousands and millions of years of history, created the land and the shapes and the forms that then we see now as Lake Baker.
So one of the things I think is so interesting about a salt lake is this notion of this sort of the crystallization when the water recedes. And then certainly for me as a New Yorker, when I first was living in Texas, and come to find out that the Salt Lick was not just the name of a great barbecue joint, but it's actually what happens when the water recedes, and it creates a salt lick for animals to come and get a massive boost of sodium should they need it, and people as well. And so to see this representation of the kind of ebb and flow, and the white representing the salt is just absolutely gorgeous. And so here too, again, we see those themes of water, ancestral home, and is there the same sort of mapping that we saw with?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, in his own way of expressing it, obviously the works are not, there is a bit of pointillism, but predominantly Timo doesn't use sticks or whatever instruments they use to create the dots, and is using a palette knife in a much more kind of artistic kind of manner to apply the acrylic, and sometimes sand. He will mix sand into the works. I'm not sure if there are any in this exhibition, but he went through a phase where he'd been out to Lake Baker, which he hasn't been to that often, so he's constantly remembering this place from a distance, and then has these kind of spurts of creativity after he's gone back and is re-energized by his country, and then he'll come back and paint ferociously for a while, remembering that place again. And in one of the trips, he brought back some sand from the lake and mixed it into the acrylic paint. So some of them, maybe one or two of them, if you notice, have got a slightly rough texture to them, which is that grittiness of the sand that he decided he wanted to mix into the acrylic to almost create a painting that had part of his country embedded into the work.
It's fascinating, and you bring up a great point, which is that in this gallery as well, we are very fortunate to have video of the artist in the process of making the work. And over here we have a word, and I was hoping, what is Kaṉparkanya?
Well, Kaṉparkanya is the lake itself, his word for Lake Baker for that area. So that's the snake, the name of the ancestral being that's in the shape is known as Kaṉparkanya. So Wanampi is just a generic term for a snake, and that is the person with his name for that totem that is creating the lake.
But I think so many, I mean, I am not one, so I'm very envious of people that are artists, but I think many artists across many different disciplines talk about how the best work comes in really embodying that which you are trying to represent. And so I think there's not many quotes, if any, in the show, but if you were going to choose one, I just love that when I paint the lake, I am Kaṉparkanya.
But it's very much a metaphoric, obviously, because the lake wasn't made by a snake, but as I said, in their land, in their country, in their minds, in the way that they think, these places all were created by other beings from another dimension, whenever that was in the past, and still carries forward into the future for them as well.
I think one of the things I love so much about both of the artists that are exhibiting here is this notion that they are a little bit abstract, but also very visceral, whether it's the pointillism or the notion of kind of incorporating some of the dirt of the lake into the artwork itself. And one thing that is really profound and has been very moving for me is the notion, or the fact really, that both of these artists are exhibiting work that is intrinsically beautiful. It's not beautiful in spite of or because of the circumstances of dislocation from their ancestral home and then relocation. Certainly that is what inspires the work, but both of these artists are just exhibiting absolutely beautiful pieces, and they are beautiful in and of themselves, with the added layers of the story just really kind of providing that context. So with that, I will thank you so much, Giorgio, for taking the time. Again, the show is on view all the way through April 23rd. Please check the website for our gallery hours, and we'd love to see you at the National Arts Club as soon as possible. Thanks so much.